Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. It's hard to find a bigger fan of you than Mom. Through all the teenage mischief and tough first steps of adulthood, she's been there supporting you every step of the way. This Mother's Day, show her just how much you appreciate all of her dedication with 1-800-Flowers.com. And right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers is giving you an exclusive 24 for 24 offer, 24 multicolored roses for just $24. That's only $1 per rose. With a bright and beautiful mix of premium roses in a rainbow of colors, these blooms are guaranteed to show Mom just how much she's loved. Multicolored roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, grandma. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak from premier farms and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 24 multicolored roses for just $24 is an amazing offer, but you have to hurry because it expires Thursday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off. Order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what Mom would want you to do. To order 24 stunning multicolored roses for just $24, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I don't know where I'd put Armageddon. I want to put it right below Palace at Auburn Hills. But Mike is sitting here telling me, nah, you got to put it nearer to skirmish. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Armageddon?
Armageddon needs to be close to the top.
Or the bottom.
Or the bottom, however
Yes.
it is that we're doing this. If you're just joining us and don't understand, we will talk basketball. PJ Carlesimo is going to join us. Daryl Morey is going to join us. I put out a call to Charles Barkley. Hopefully he can join us and tell us why he wants to punch Draymond Green in the face. Maybe for the same reasons everyone does.
It's a totally normal reaction by Charles.
It was a funny basketball night last night.
Correction. He wants Rajon Rondo to punch Draymond Green in the face.
But I'm guessing Charles would also like to punch Draymond in the face. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Would you like to punch Draymond in the face? Just leave it open to the world. But what we were talking about is, for some reason, in the local hours, Stugotz used the phrase brouhaha. It caught us all off guard. It was weird. And so we created a hierarchy of words that would tell you from top to bottom or bottom to top how violence escalates, how you get to the point. We don't know what happened between Drake and Kendrick Perkins last night. What would we describe it? On this hierarchy of, give people again, Mike, and we are soliciting funny words. The very bottom of, this is the least violent thing, but tensions are escalating. The bottom is what?
Chicanery.
I disagree, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's hijinks. Then it's shenanigans.
No, then it's malarkey.
Right.
Then it's shenanigans.
Okay, the list isn't great, but okay, malarkey, shenanigans, and then what's above it?
Tomfoolery.
All right, but have we gotten to what happened with Draymond and...
Not yet. I know exactly where it is, though.
Okay, but where's Drake and Kendrick Perkins? Have we gotten to that yet? Because yesterday, the Raptors did the single most predictable thing in the world, which is totally healthy, number one seed, throw away the home court advantage, defeated by LeBron. All of you knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen, even though the Cavs, and this sounds a little bit like a riddle, never led. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Did the Cavs win without ever leading last night? Yes or no? Because that's what's happened in my personal record book.
Drake and Kendrick Perkins exchanged barbs.
There were barbs exchanged.
Yep.
What are barbs? What are they? Is it barbed wire?
You know exactly what barbs
You know
are.
what barbs are.
They exchanged barbs. That's
Yes.
That's the distinction we're giving it. Okay, if you're just joining us, here's where we are. Drake and Kendrick Perkins got into it last night. If you're not familiar with the people involved, one of these people is a horribly overrated tough guy. The other is Kendrick Perkins. Really? I didn't feel like I deserved that.
I didn't feel like it either.
Yeah, I feel like that was pity.
Mood.
I feel like that was pity. You're just giving me an old puncher got out there with a joke, with a funny, and you just gave me a pity laugh. Regardless, I move on. Drake gets mad at Kendrick Perkins. Drake is a rapper. Kendrick Perkins,
I think is a basketball player. I'm not sure.
Kendrick Perkins is a block house that is tough guy, but I don't know if he's studio. Is he studio gangster?
No, he's legit tough, and he also looks like a pharaoh.
Yeah,
he does.
So much like a pharaoh.
Yeah.
But so Drake felt comfortable enough to yell at Kendrick Perkins that he was an effing P word. I don't know how to say that. I don't know if we got dumped there. I'm scared of everything that I'm around right now.
He said that?
Yes.
Drake said that? Just like that.
That was just like
verbatim.
No, he didn't say it the way I bleeped it out. Drake was chasing after Kendrick Perkins, and according to Bruce Arthur, who's a columnist in that country of basketball losers, Drake was chasing after Kendrick Perkins and called him an effing P word. And so where does that rank? You guys did not know this? I'm revealing this news.
That sounds like a barb if I've ever heard one.
Exactly. An exchange of barbs if Perkins said something back. Now, I don't understand how Drake's allowed to get away with this. If I do that to Kendrick Perkins, or if anyone does that to Kendrick Perkins, I'm getting kicked out of the arena.
To floss his teeth.
Yeah, but I'm getting kicked out of the arena. Drake does it all game, and he's allowed to sit down.
I think he's a part owner.
Oh.
No, he's a global ambassador.
Oh, my bad.
Remember, he was fined for tampering when he shouted out Kevin Durant at a concert.
Wait a minute. Global ambassador can get fined for tampering?
He's got a front office. Owner? I think he has an office in the building.
Yeah.
As global ambassador.
Yeah. That's why he had to pay the fine. He was either pay the fine or relinquish the front office position, and he didn't relinquish.
So was he going for that role that Hugh Douglas once had with the Eagles before Terrell Owens beat him up in a hot tub? Is Drake going for badassador? For the title badassador. So he's chasing down Kendrick Perkins. Are you guys going to settle in on exchange of barbs? Because that doesn't seem like the classification.
Well, it seemed like a dust up, but not enough dust for a full-on dust up. So an exchanging of barbs it is.
For an exchange of barbs, wouldn't you have to accept the barb? Correct. I don't want to accept the barb.
This is where the whole thing falls apart, because I don't think Kendrick Perkins was accepting being called an FNP word. I don't think that's something he would accept. So I don't think. Anyways, let's get back to the hierarchy. Can we? Please, let's get back to the hierarchy. Just start at the bottom again.
Chicanery.
That's just wrong. It shouldn't be at the bottom.
Listen, it's the top, I'm telling you, because we did this with a totem pole, okay? And everyone just assumes top of the totem pole is the most important thing. But I went to totempole.com, and I'm telling you, the bottom of the totem pole is where they spend more time crafting. They give much more time and imagination to the people at the bottom. The bottom of the totem pole is much more important.
Okay, regardless, I don't care to have this semantics discussion again.
Okay.
We've covered all of this. I'd just like to get through the hierarchy one time. Just the weakest form of tension.
Right, top to bottom.
The weakest form of tension between two sides is chicanery. I will try to let that go. Keep moving.
Hijinks. Hijinks. Malarkey. Shenanigans. Tomfoolery. Skirmish. Fracas.
Oh, wow.
Hullabaloo.
Oh!
Ballyhoo.
Oh, no.
Dust up.
Woo!
Brouhaha.
Oh,
Armageddon.
watch out.
Rowdy dow.
Woo!
Kerfuffle.
Whoa.
Hubbub.
Ah.
Hurly-burly.
Whoa.
Slobberknocker.
Oh,
Donnybrook.
Ah!
Riot.
No.
War.
Hey.
Palace of Auburn Hills.
Oh.
I think that top end is strong.
The bottom end.
What was Draymond Green against Rajon Rondo last night? Draymond Green and Rajon Rondo were face to face. They would have been lips to lips if Rondo was taller. Like, they were right up on each other.
It's a face-off.
Oh, man. I missed one.
Okay. Well, it would have been a face-off if Rondo were taller. Yeah, you got to start over. How did we forget face-off?
Yeah, I don't know.
Face-off between Hullabaloo and Ballyhoo. That sound right to you guys?
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe. No, face-off before skirmish.
Is Tussle in there? Is Tizzy in there? Tussle and Tizzy.
Tizzy's individual.
Yeah, Tizzy's
Yeah.
Tizzy
You're in a
is just
tizzy.
a personal
Yeah.
thing. It only involves one person.
Okay, but so does an exchange of barbs. Requires two people, and this was only one, and you classified this as an exchange of barbs.
No. There were two people involved.
Yes.
But only one was accepting or delivering barbs. The other one was not. Kendrick
If you don't accept the barb, then you go straight on into a brouhaha.
All right, so yes, there's a brouhaha then. Okay.
All right, look, the only bit of consensus we have on this, right, is that Palace at Auburn Hills, Pacers punching the customers is the worst of all of these in the history of skirmishes, violence, and all sorts of awful. Palace at Auburn Hills. We are all in agreement that
it's the Palace of Auburn Hills. Fine.
Are we all in agreement that that's where we are? That that's the highest point on the list? It's lowest. About the only thing we agree on.
Yeah. By the way, disagreement's actually below tomfoolery. Really? Yeah, just a pleasant disagreement.
That's a pleasant disagreement?
Well, you could have your side, I have mine, but whatever. Agree to disagree.
Okay, all right, we got to start over. Where do we put agree to disagree?
I'm a one-trick pony, literally. I show up at kids' parties and act cute. That's pretty much it. So excuse me for being bitter. When Geico says not only could we save you money on car insurance, but we do more. Like give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or even via our award-winning mobile app. Well, ooh la la. Aren't they multi-talented? Hey, I said organic carrots.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Don Le Batard.
I have a child.
Stugotz.
Farts smell worse when you need to make a poopy.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I need to fix some things around here, update some things. That first segment, many of you are agitated by because we were talking about the rankings of tensions, because tensions flared, tempers flared. Does anything else flare other than a temper? Wild pitches get uncorked and wine bottles get uncorked, but nothing else gets uncorked.
Hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids?
They flare up.
Yeah. So do nostrils.
Oh, nostrils also flare. Was there any of that last night? Was there anything? Did anything flare?
Yeah. Because, but I can't decide if it was tensions or nostrils.
Well, hold on.
I don't think it was hemorrhoids.
Mix of the two.
This list, is pandemonium on it?
No.
Why not?
No, it's not on there.
But why?
Because we had to make room for Tiff.
Yeah. How about skullduggery?
Skullduggery is on there now. It's between malarkey and shenanigans.
How about ruckus?
Ruckus. I mean, we had to make room for quarrel.
How about blitzkrieg? Are we not allowing words from other languages like cagaçon?
No, we're only King's English.
Okay. All right, so this is where we are. So tempers flared. There were tiffs. And there were blitzkriegs last night, or there weren't blitzkriegs.
No, there were not. There were brouhahas.
I kind of felt like LeBron blitzkrieg the Raptors, but okay. Drake fought with Kendrick Perkins, and Rondo fought with Draymond Green, although fought's not the right word. We're still trying to determine that. But you thought we wasted your time in the last segment. I remind you that 24 hours ago, we're celebrating the anniversary of 2 anniversaries, actually. Guillermo saying that Nolan Ryan wasn't that good on the very day that was the anniversary of Nolan Ryan's 7th no-hitter.
That's not exactly accurate representation of what happened. I said that Nolan Ryan should have had more wins pitching 26 seasons than 324, and I didn't think he should get in with 98% of the vote when he was only 30 games over 500. He was like Carl Pavano. He was like a 500 pitcher for his career, essentially.
Totally fair. Compiler.
Totally fair. It's a ridiculous thing to say, but Guillermo can often be a dope about things. So when I'm asking him during the break, just what are you working on? He just looks up at me and says, when do the gloves come off? When do the gloves come off?
Well, it's after Armageddon. The gloves come off.
After Armageddon?
Yeah. And you know what happens after the gloves come off?
I feel like maybe when do the gloves come off should be at the top of the list, because all we do in sports is guys get fake. They took the fights from us. You know what? They took the fights from us. Jeff Van Gundy, we are too far removed from the NBA where Jeff Van Gundy was clinging to Alonzo Mourning's ankle because things got so out of control.
An anniversary 2 days ago, by the way.
Yeah.
So everyone knows what happens after the gloves come off, right? Like fisticuffs.
Oh. There you go. Before or after, though? From top to bottom, bottom to top. I keep trying to explain this to you guys.
How great is this video for just our entire network? The NBA playoffs are great. What happens last night in that game? If you're watching Toronto, what just happened in the other room? Something just swept through the other room.
Allison just told us we forgot Hootenanny.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Allison, an assassin from the shadows with Hootenanny. Good Lord, does Hootenanny go above Palace at Auburn Hills?
Hootenanny certainly goes,
high up there.
Comes after Armageddon.
Lower.
I'm very confused.
Wait a minute. A hootenanny is the worst of all the things, is it not? How? I mean,
wait. The definition of a hootenanny is an informal gathering with folk music and sometimes dancing.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's right after Riot.
Though. But I feel like what Draymond and Rondo did was an old person dance.
Yeah. So it was Drake and Perk hootenanny.
It was an informal gathering.
With folk music and sometimes dancing.
So last night, and I, you know that we love basketball around here, and just what happened last night, you have to think that everyone who was wearing a Raptors uniform knew it was going to happen.
Right.
They are leading all game. They've got the best team. They are a better team than the one they are playing. They are healthy. They are rested. Their two stars don't vomit all over the front of their uniforms. They miss every basket in the fourth quarter.
They had 5 attempts to win the game with under 8 seconds to go. Bunnies, Valanciunas at the very end.
He
just
had 3
missed
of them.
Bunny, man.
All of them.
Yes.
Lowry wasn't very good down the stretch. They mentioned sometime in overtime when he finally went to the line that that's his first basket since the third quarter.
Hold on. Do you know what happened? Because this is what happened. LeBron got put on Lowry, and Lowry disappeared in his belly button. They were laughing about it in the last 90 seconds of the game, and I didn't know why Lowry was laughing, because they would isolate LeBron, tired-ass LeBron. They would isolate him at the top with Lowry. Lowry is what? How many pounds and inches is Lowry giving up to LeBron?
Oh, pounds? Not so much.
Yeah, pounds.
LeBron snuffed that out. Lowry stopped mattering the moment that LeBron started covering him. And the reason I noticed it at Stugotz is because Lowry was trying to get around him. Lowry should be able to get around him. Lowry was afraid of getting around him and having LeBron chase it down from behind or get stuck in the key where he's got to pass out of it. Lowry didn't want any parts of what it is that LeBron was doing last night, and that is the reason that you can't trust Toronto.
LeBron is 6'8", 250. Lowry is 6 feet, 270.
Oh, 5'8", 7 inch shorter than Baker Mayfield.
Because that's what happened. And LeBron, man...
I mean, come on. He added insult to injury after the game saying, that's the worst game I've played.
He didn't play very
year.
well. He didn't play very well.
Here's a damning number. In 27 seasons, to be 32 games over 500, you're essentially 1 game over 500 a season.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves.
Right.
Pavano.
Yes. You know, Baseball Reference, they have comparable, comparable stats.
Comparable?
Comparable, whatever. Yeah. Tomato. Anyway, when you look up Nolan Ryan, there's Carl Pavano.
Actually, let's do that now. Let's see the names. Let's do that now. Let's stop for a moment. Oh, look at Guillermo. Now he's slinking into his chair. Oh, no. Here's where the facts defeat me. Let's actually look at that. Nolan Ryan, comparable names. Let's see if Carl Pavano is on there. I'll wait.
He's right at the bottom of the list. Or the top.
I'm not letting you off on this one.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves.
Give me the names comparable to Nolan Ryan when you go to your easy thesaurus of sports excellence.
Man. Warren Spahn, Randy Johnson, Tom Seaver, Roger Clemens, Early Wynn, Burt Blyleven, Burt be home by 11, and Joe Blanton.
It's Blyleven, and I heard Blanton in your ear said 3 names ago.
Don Le Batard.
What I'm telling you, this is what I'm telling you. You send 4 or 5 or 6 88-year-olds my way, and each one of those fights is going to look like Don Zimmer and Pedro Martinez. Each one of them. Send them one after another. It'll be like a kung fu movie.
Stugotz.
Send them one after another, and I'm telling you, I'm dusting a dozen 88-year-olds, one after the other. They're like zombies. They can come all at once, one after another, with my hands.
What if Hayden Fry is one of them?
All of them. 88 years old, unless Jeff Conine's father is there.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz, we've got somebody here texting in,
right.
And they're writing, Stugotz just said that Kyle Lowry was 270 pounds. How do you let that slide?
You don't get the show.
I don't know what to tell you. Here's your SportsCenter update. Former 49er safety Eric Reed has filed a collusion grievance against the NFL. The Cavaliers became the second team in the last 20 postseasons to win a playoff game without leading in regulation. Cleveland took the lead for the first time on Kyle Korver's three-pointer 37 seconds into overtime.
I am asking you this question. Korver is terrifying. He wouldn't be terrifying. He wouldn't be that kind of terrifying if he didn't play with LeBron James, and LeBron was always going to find him. This nonsense that they have where LeBron just hands him the ball and Kyle gets something off just because LeBron is big and Kyle Korver can get shots off quickly, that's not something I've ever seen in the history of the sport.
No, it's like a handoff. You're right. And Kyle goes behind LeBron. He sets a little screen, and Korver, he doesn't need a lot of room or time. He just gets it off.
It is such a perfection of shooting. It is, I know Steph Curry's evolved it, but good God.
But that's what won them the game last night. It was Korver and J.R. Smith.
Yes, correct.
10 of 18.
Well, and LeBron.
Well,
LeBron just being LeBron.
Well, LeBron said he probably had his worst game of the season.
I know.
It's incredible. And finally, WWE superstar Kane won the Knox County mayoral Republican primary by a mere 17 votes. Close. The results will not be official until next week because the Knox County Election Committee says there are still provisional ballots to count. The final election takes place in August. Mother's Day is coming up. Instead of getting her the same expected gifts, find millions of gifts as unique as her on Amazon. You get free shipping on eligible orders over $25. Shop now at Amazon.com/Mother's Day. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Add for me whatever fiction you would like to make last night more Canada has a bunch of basketball losers than it actually was, okay? You are terrible in game ones all the time. You've just had the best season of your life. This is the best Raptors team any of us have ever seen. Changed in style all season. You guys keep telling me that's the coach of the year because he's actually fixed it. They've tried to finish it with the missing piece of Ibaka and PJ Tucker, and now I guess it's Van Fleet or their bench, whatever the missing pieces are supposed to be. They go into that game, they lead the entire game. Then the fourth quarter comes, and here comes Cleveland. And it's just bombs from outside. Cleveland is not rested. LeBron is taking breaks during the game because he's already told you he's tired and just wanted to go home at the end of the series. Yep. LeBron is having the worst game of the season, according to himself, and down the stretch, you miss 15 of 16 shots, and including at the end of regulation, your giant guy, who actually had 1 million rebounds in the game because he was being giant, misses 100 shots at the rim. As if it was you were at the carnival at the fair where you know the rim is smaller than the basketball, but you can't see it from where you are.
Right. And he was so frustrated.
Give me the other things, but give me the other things. Right. And then he just falls to the ground in despair, and that should be the visual image that the Raptors wear on their uniform the rest of their lives. Like Valanciunas just like, ah!
I just couldn't believe it.
Just, how did I miss all of those? If you give me all of those shots again, I make 1,000 out of 1,000, but I missed all 1,000 of them right there in the last 8 seconds.
And in the final minutes of regulation and in overtime, DeRozan was doing that thing where he passed out of a jump shot that wasn't that bad of a look. You go with your best player there.
Yeah, but Mike, at the end of those games, okay, and we know that a lot of people doubt the short-circuiting of Lowry and DeRozan. They are among the worst playoff performers for their talent level in the history of the sport by numbers. I'm not just ripping their character. I like both of those guys.
Sure.
But the numbers say that when greatness arrives in the playoffs, few people fail bigger and more spectacularly than the two guys on that team. And when LeBron can erase one of them and DeRozan doesn't trust the 2 feet that he needs to step back to consistently make threes.
Which is weird. He's been hitting them this season, but 0 of 4 last night.
I mean, he had a shot that was close to the rim. He had a good look, and he passed out of it. And I know he's got the mental health stuff, so I don't want to do there's a mental block with this team over the last 3 years where if they build up a big lead in the fourth quarter, teams always seem to make a run against them, and they're hanging on for dear life.
If you are the number 1 seed to be trusted, you have to bury that Cleveland team in game 1. They're exhausted. They're coming out of a series where their star player is telling you he just wants to go home because he's fried. And then during that game, he's sitting the way he never does during a playoff game because he needs rest. But at the end of that game, he was chasing down everybody. And physically, Lowry didn't want any part of that.
No.
And I don't blame him.
Right.
I don't blame him. It must be somewhere between, emasculating and horrifying to know you've been great at something all your life, and now here's LeBron at the top of the key. Here, Kyle, you and him, Toronto, the country's on your back. This is the best team we've ever had. Go get it. And it's like, no thanks.
We've seen him do it before,
no
right?
No thanks. Don't want it.
Tougher competition to Derrick Rose. It's crazy.
It must be very frustrating. And it's why LeBron James is playing against only ghosts. It's why LeBron James is playing only against Michael Jordan, because look at what Kevin bleeping Durant, an alleged peer, had to do to beat him.
Right. But, Mike, you point out the DeRozan look, and you're right, it was a good one. But look at the play before. Because LeBron doesn't need a good look. DeRozan needs the good look, and it's still iffy as to whether or not he's going to hit that shot. LeBron took a terrible shot to tie up the game. It went in.
It was an amazing
He did that all the time, though. He did it like 5 times in the game. There were 5 times in the game where the defense was great on him. He's just shooting one of those ridiculous fadeaway floaters, and there is nothing in the history of the sport that can stop that.
No. I mean, that's Jordan-like. When he does it, that's what Jordan did towards the end of his career, man. That fadeaway floater.
But Jordan, toward the end of his career, was losing.
Right. I'm talking on the back end of the championship runs, though. Dan, that was a staple of his.
Yes, what LeBron, that game, the way that game should have ended is with Cleveland never having a lead until LeBron made the game winner, which he had a look at. I don't even understand how he got clean of a look in regular. Like, Toronto deserved to lose right there on that shot, that way, hearts broken. LeBron beat you at the buzzer, leading for the first time all game because you left him open somehow with 0.6 tenths of a second left in the game.
The entire arena was shocked that he missed that. Everyone.
It was a tough shot, but it was a clean look.
Yeah.
I can't believe they got that look at the end. Good God, what a breach. Like, if I live in Canada and I believe in this basketball team, that one would hurt more than any loss I've ever had, because this is supposed to be the team. And I'm telling you, this is the weakest LeBron team we've seen in a decade.
Yep.
Like, LeBron has not carried a team this weak into the playoffs in this decade.
Raptors were 34-7 at home this year.
I mean, that's right out of the LeBron book. You get routed game 1, and LeBron finds a way to steal one game 2, and this will be a series. That kind of felt like the series last night.
No, I still think it'll be a long series, and
the series is over.
Okay, maybe a long series that's over.
You both can be right.
But
it was over before it started. To be honest,
but there's where we are, though. This is where we are in game 1. As Kyle Lowry and DeRozan and the Raptors did the most Canadian basketball loser thing we've ever seen. LeBron James told you, and I can do it on your floor in game 7 too. And you guys know it. And your 2 stars know it better than anyone. Like, I'll do it in game 1. I'll do it in game 7. I've done this 11 times against you in the playoffs. You know how many times I've lost? Twice.
And I did it to a better Serge Ibaka once.
Oh, my God. I did it to a better. I am your daddy. Like, he is your daddy, Canada. Like, you've got nothing for him. The alleged soft choker, you've got nothing for LeBron James. Because go ahead, get back in the series in the next game. Maybe you come back 2-2. Maybe you come back up somehow 3-1. He'll win game 5 on your floor, and then he'll win game 7 on your floor. And that's not me thinking it. That's Kyle Lowry.
This show ain't free. Time for some ads.
Feel bad for those guys, I do, because I like them. I like both of them a lot, especially Lowry, man.
Oh, but that's the pressure of this thing. That's why these stakes are so much bigger than actors and all the other people that get paid by it. Like, this is the fun. The fun is that here is your performance analyzed by everyone. No one would like their weakest day at work. Analyzed by everyone. No one would like their weakest day at work to find a desk where LeBron is sitting on it saying, you're not going to sit here. I sit here now. Why? Because I'm your daddy.
Dan Le Batard.
He had a game score of 100. Not many people do that. I think he was like the 12th ever.
Stugotz.
Cares.
So
How many wins does he have? How many strikeouts does he have?
There it is.
Game score.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
The gorilla has made an appearance.
You know what a game score is? Cubs 4, Pirates 3.
Yes,
that's the score of a game.
yes.
Okay? Game score. Oh, game score.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Forgive me for not being up to date on mumble rap, current hip hop genre in a way that answers this question. But in the history of hip hop, has there been a softer rapper by reputation with substantive fame than Drake? I'm asking the question. I don't know the answer. There may be guys who have reputations as being the opposite of gangsters. I know the lyrics of Drake are super soft.
Yeah, no, Drake broke the mold. Drake couldn't exist in the 90s. Drake didn't exist in the 90s.
Well,
Drake was the first guy to sing and rap and sing about feelings, and now a bunch of people are sort of following him. There's this whole new millennial rapper.
Okay, so what is the office that he has at the headquarters of the Toronto Raptors? What do you guys imagine is in there? I'm just like, go ahead. Drake has an office. You guys are telling me there's a goodwill ambassador.
He's a global ambassador.
Excuse me,
yes.
a global ambassador. As he sits there and taunts Kendrick Perkins leaving. That's a fairly amazing thing. And it's wonderfully basketball. I'm here for all of it, so don't take it as criticism. I just want to get at the idea of what is in Drake's office. What is it? What do you imagine it looks like?
Oh, super serious. I imagine he's got a tape machine in there. He's breaking down film. Yeah, P&Ls, suit and tie. He actually shows up 3 days a week.
Punch clock.
Do you think he asks like the GM, hey, what's the salary cap look like? Like, what do we?
I think he calls other GMs, takes a temperature of the league.
No
a little
doubt.
bit.
Yeah.
I also think he has one of those big blades that cuts paper. Not for he's just cutting blank paper, but he does that for at least 10 to 15 minutes a day.
He binds books too.
He binds books?
Yeah.
Yeah, he binds all the paper he cuts. It's a hard job binding books. Have you ever tried it? Book binders are not easy.
Are you eating something right now?
A banana. He thought a good time.
I didn't think we were going to talk about bookbinding.
Okay, you didn't think there would be something that would clearly inspire you to reach up from your eating banana and do professional radio. I understand how that happened.
$2.
Yeah. So, we've got some sound here from the Adam Schefter podcast. We've got a number of sounds here that I'd like to play. We got some Jack Mills for you. We got some Kanye West. We got some Stephen A. Smith. But we begin the bidding with the Adam Schefter podcast here. Mike is telling me there are two Easter eggs in here. The first, do I have to give it any context? Does it need any context, or can we just play the first wonderful thing from the Adam Schefter podcast?
The first one, Adam Schefter asked Mel, what is he going to do in this offseason, this summer?
We will be on the boat, on the kayaks, on the jet ski a lot, heading over to St. Michael's to see Brian Billiken is a good friend of mine. We'll go out over with Brian and Kim, his wife, and spend time at the Crab Claw, get some steamed crabs right out of the bay, and have a lot of fun on the bay this summer, and try. You know what we need to do, Adam? We all need to regenerate.
Yeah.
You can't do this every day. You got to take some time away to get that love of the game back.
4 exactos in the first round for Mel Kiper. Second consecutive year of 4 exactos. The draft fraud business pays.
You could so see that man on a jet ski, though, right?
For sure.
Yes.
Yes.
I will tell you, there are probably 5 moments in history I would love to be a fly on the wall. Ooh. And crabbing with Brian Billick and Mel Kiper Jr. is on there.
Yeah. Put it on the poll. Bucket list. Crabbing with Mel Kiper Jr. and Brian Billick.
Brian Billick.
Yeah, Brian Billick. Only 5 moments in recorded history. I think 13 days with John F. Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's on there. Right. Paul McCartney, John Lennon when they were considering taking Lorne Michaels' offer and reuniting on SNL. Certainly. John Travolta and Nicolas Cage when they were studying each other's mannerisms in preparation for face-offs on there.
Mannerisms?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mannerisms. Did you do that on purpose? Because that's exactly how both of them acted in that movie. That should be a new thing. Instead of mannerisms, mannerisms.
Yeah. Also would have loved to have been a fly on the wall on the plane back from Vegas, LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
What do you know, Dwayne?
Well, that's the list. That's the list of 5 things that everyone has, right?
Yeah. Well, it used to be 4, now it's 5, crapping with Mel and Brian.
Yep.
I want to know what my in-laws think of me.
I don't.
You don't want that.
You don't want to know that.
You don't want to know that.
Let me tell you, they're not exactly quiet about it.
I mean, like, what is this guy at the bottom of the totem pole here on the Levitard show?
Well, he's on the top.
Yeah,
right?
or the top, whichever one it is. Right. We've got some more Mel Kiper sound.
Just below his dad.
Some McShay sound. I'm told we have some McShay sound again. We got some Stephen A. Smith sound. We've got some Jack Mills sound. Who is Jack Mills? That's something that I should know, right? Who the hell?
Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. It's hard to find a bigger fan of you than Mom. Through all the teenage mischief and tough first steps of adulthood, she's been there supporting you every step of the way. This Mother's Day, show her just how much you appreciate all of her dedication with 1-800-Flowers.com. And right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers is giving you an exclusive 24 for 24 offer, 24 multicolored roses for just $24. That's only $1 per rose. With a bright and beautiful mix of premium roses in a rainbow of colors, these blooms are guaranteed to show Mom just how much she's loved. Multicolored roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, grandma. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak from premier farms and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 24 multicolored roses for just $24 is an amazing offer, but you have to hurry because it expires Thursday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off. Order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what Mom would want you to do. To order 24 stunning multicolored roses for just $24, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan.
Dan Le Batard.
Texter writes in, Stugotz looks homeless today. If I saw him walking down Ocean Drive, I would give him $5.
Stugotz.
Thank you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Commercial insurance through Progressive protects your business and your dreams. Choose from over 30 coverage options at ProgressiveCommercial.com. PJ Carlesimo going to join us in a half hour on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Stanley Cup playoffs. Capitals beat the Penguins to go up 2-1 in that series. The Jets had an amazing performance while down 3 goals to beat the Predators, going up 2-1 in their series. Pair of games tonight. The Lightning and Bruins play Game 3, and the Golden Knights play the Sharks in Game 4. And finally, in a recent interview with USA Today, the Simpsons creator, Matt Groening, was asked whether he had thoughts on the criticism of Apu as a stereotype. Groening responded, "Not really. I'm proud of what we do on the show, and I think it's a time in our culture where people love to pretend they are offended." It's hard to find a bigger fan of you than Mom. This Mother's Day, show her just how much you appreciate all of her dedication with 24 multicolored roses for just $24 from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Click the radio icon, enter code Dan. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Many of you object when we talk race around here, so I am telling you right now for the next couple of minutes, you can go away if you'd like. We'll get back to the nonsense and Adam Schefter and the conversation that Stugotz and Guillermo were arguing about during the break, which is what Brian Billick and Mel Kiper look like when they're jet skiing or when they're at that beach. They've got a lot of very strong opinions about that, and they're very divided on the subject.
Yes. But race for a couple of minutes here?
Race for a couple of minutes here based on that story that you just read, which was super disappointing from The Simpsons in general and Matt Groening in particular. As the creator of that show, a show that is counterculture, rebellious, one of the greatest things in the history of American entertainment, okay? For you to receive criticism of a stereotyped character like Apu from a group of people who were hurt by the stereotypical behavior when you and your people are not hurt ever by that kind of behavior, that you would ignore a documentary that would explain why specifically people would be hurt by that character. The reaction to that should be something closer to what Hank Azaria's reaction is as that character. He went on Colbert, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to step down, and I'm not saying that we're not often overly sensitive and getting outraged by nonsense. But you should at least, if you are not Indian or you're not black or you're not Hispanic, if you are a white person, you should at least have the common courtesy and decency to hear those people out and not tell them when they're hurt that they're too sensitive because you've been profiting off of a stereotyped character that Hank Azaria has been voicing and is willing to move away from because he is simply listening to the aggrieved. You don't have to always step down from the job, but listening would suffice, and having the decency, the courtesy to just listening to people who have been hurt. Like, what does that cost you? Why do we need to fight over that? Have you not made enough money? And forgive me, I called him Groening when his name is Graining.
That's a fun, even though I did it as well.
I just don't understand how it is that Graining would get defiant in that spot with that show that is counterculture at every turn, rebellious, that show would put in the voice of its most liberal character a defense.
Right.
Of people being too sensitive about Apu, and that Graining would now show you, oh no, that was me putting those words in Lisa Simpson's mouth. That was real disappointing as someone who has been a fan of those, of the genius of those shows for a long time without ever seeing the privilege in those shows.
I know you love them and the show, and you think it's wildly creative, and it is pioneering. I think most people would say, but you're surprised that the creator of The Simpsons, Graining, would feel this way? Because he's been getting away with stuff like this forever. No one has said anything. You're surprised by that?
I'm not surprised, Stugotz. It's just disappointing. I cannot be surprised and be bummed out about it, because you'd like to think that these people with this artistic creativity would understand enough to know that they have never been on the wrong side of this kind of hurt. The place that we've arrived at in 2018 with race relations in America is when viewed through the prism of privilege. The request for equality becomes something that feels like oppression. And so that's why Kaepernick, and now Eric Reed's involved as well. Now they're fighting the NFL because they've requested equality. And the answer is no. Neil, more, boy, but not then. But not then. Like, that's where privilege comes from. Like, that's how it behaves. And it was just disappointing to see from that show of all shows that you got to go. Like, just, hey, some people were hurt. We saw this happen in Miami. Scarface came down here and filmed a bunch of Jewish people that pretended to be Cuban in a way that was really stereotypical. And you know what Miami did? Kicked Scarface out of town, let him film 10 minutes here, and then told him to go to California and film the rest of it. Because you're not paying attention, Oliver Stone, to your privilege in your tower. And you're just smearing people the way you did, the way that you did with Turkish prisons in Midnight Express.
Is that how it happened, or was it just cheaper to film in L.A.?
There were protests. You could look it up.
But we booted them out of town?
We made it very difficult. Go ahead. You can look. Please look it up.
I think everyone got upset when they realized that Hector the Toe was being played by Al Israel.
Even before it came out. They saw the wire on IMDb.com, and they were like, no, this will not stand.
You explain to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have invented, I've longed for a time of Cuban power where we rise up and we kick Scarface out of town because we're offended in the, and man, I'll tell you what's more offensive than the Cuban characterization in Scarface. It's that scene with the buzzsaw down the street over here from the Clevelanders become a CVS.
Chainsaw.
I'm not kidding you. The whole hotel, that used to be, has become this pharmaceutical industry, man. How is CVS building all these giant places? Is it because we're all addicted to opioids?
The Fifth Street Gym where Muhammad Ali trained for some of his most famous fights. Also a CVS. Yeah.
But everything's a CVS now. How many people in this audience right now are keeping CVS in business? Because you're addicted to opioids. Are we all addicted to opioids?
How does
CVS keep building giant places next to the next giant place?
How is their budget not just totally wasted on the size of those receipts?
CVS is coming after Bezos.
There's a sign on the CVS on Ocean that says, these stairs right here, they're for CVS now, but they used to be a scene from Scarface.
That's offensive too to me. So let's get back to this Adam Schefter podcast and the discussion that you and Guillermo were having about what Mel Kiper and Brian Billick look like when they're jet skiing. But before we do that, let's just listen to McShay and Kiper. Is this McShay and Kiper on the Adam Schefter podcast?
Yeah, what a get from Schefter. I mean, these are the two people you want to talk to post-draft. And it's not just draft talk. It's other things.
So we'll say this. We had a phenomenal omelet today.
Oh, we did at the cafeteria.
One of the best omelets I've ever had in my life, Adam.
At the ESPN Cafe?
Yeah.
Yes. With green peppers, onions, tomatoes, and cheddar cheese. It was spectacular.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. During the season, when we watch games in the War Room, our favorite thing, big breakfast. And so we'd all have, me and Seth and the Hasselbecks, omelets for dinner every Sunday
I like
night.
breakfast
What's
for dinner.
breakfast for
That's
dinner
what I
is
like. That's
also
why I eat
underrated.
You feel like you're breaking the rules.
Pancakes
It's nice.
and omelets and sausage around 6, 7 o'clock at night is ideal.
It's a great deal. All right. Is breakfast for dinner?
Ideal.
It's ideal.
Ideal,
okay.
yes.
Is breakfast for dinner underrated? Go ahead and put it on the poll, Guillermo.
No, is it ideal?
Yes.
Is breakfast for dinner ideal?
I happen to agree with that, man. I could listen to Mel talk about that kind of stuff all day. Seriously.
I could listen to you and Guillermo talk all day about what Billick and Kiper look like when they're vacationing together.
Well, we have a difference of opinion here where we were discussing whether or not Mel takes his shirt off when he goes in the ocean or the pool. I think Mel absolutely takes his shirt off. The guys think there's no way that Mel is wearing a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah, long sleeve water shirt, white one, but it's not just a regular white long sleeve shirt. This is a water shirt, so it doesn't become see-through when he's on it. Now, Chris thinks he wears a suit. I don't think he wears a suit. I think he cuts the sleeves off of a suit, if anything.
I think he has the life jacket on over the suit.
I also think Billick has at least 5 Tommy Bahama shirts, if not more.
Oh, I would say over on the amount of Tommy Bahama shirts that Billick has. Way over 5. Do you think Kiper has one?
I think Kiper, if he has any, it's one that Billick gave him as a present for his birthday or Christmas, and he takes it like as an obligation every time they go on vacation together. Wears it at least once.
Do they both have sunblock on their noses? Or just Billick?
I think just Billick. Mike, do you think so? We know that Billick, right? When he goes in the pool or to the beach or into the ocean, we know that he has the straw hat on, and we know that he has lotion on the end of his nose. He's not rubbing it in. He has the lifeguard lotion on the end of the nose. Do we think Mel Kiper does the same?
That's Billick's look when he goes into church or a funeral. He's always rocking a straw hat with white lotion on the nose. Mel Kiper doesn't need the white stuff on his nose to protect his nose because he has the largest hat to protect him from the sun of all time, and you know this, man.
Yes. He has the glasses that go from regular glasses to sunglasses, right?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you think he has regular? Well, I guess he does. I was going to say he just has sunglasses. Do you think that Mel, does his hair get created that way because he's on the jet ski, or does his hair not move at all because he's on the jet ski, when he's on the jet ski?
Real chicken egg scenario.
It really is.
Mel's like
Did the jet ski make the hair?
Mel's like top 5 on my list of people I want to see wake up in the morning to see what their hair looks like.
Herb Street's number 1 on mine.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. What's the rest of the list?
Now to the good stuff.
I think Seacrest. I want to see Seacrest hair, like 19,
doesn't move
like
much,
2003 Seacrest hair.
I guess Herbie could say the same thing, right?
How long do you think it takes Ryan Seacrest to get ready for the day?
About 3 hours.
Because there's like, he probably has like the rub that goes under the eyes, like the
Oh,
mechanism.
wow. And he has to wake up for Kelly now.
Yeah.
Right.
He
Billy,
must not sleep.
top 5 by next segment. I want a top 5 of the people you most want to see wake up in the morning.
Who at ESPN takes the longest to get ready for their day? Because I'm all in with Greeny.
Among the men, because the women get made fun of on television for.
That's why we avoided that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I said Greeny.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Dan Le Batard.
Are you not alarmed by how much Stugotz ate last night?
Stugotz.
I had no idea. He ate a lot. He was pretty gross when I left. I had no idea that he went on this, like, grazing.
Well, here's the weird thing about Stugotz, too, though. When Stugotz eats here, he never finishes anything. I know, because I'm always cleaning it up.
It's infuriating.
After he's left.
He leaves one wing.
No, but
Well,
no,
in case
that's...
someone wants it, I mean.
Just eat the wing.
I thought Roy always ate the leftover wing.
Roy always throws it away.
All right, I'm a slub.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
LeBron is holding the basketball 53% of the time in the postseason. It is in his possession.
That's all the teams. It's total. Everybody combined.
That's right. Everyone combined. The ball is in the hands of LeBron 53% of the time. Billy, what is your top 5 people you want to see wake up in the morning because you want to see what they look like? Top 5, please.
In no particular order.
No, they have to be in a particular order.
All right, fine. In particular order.
Number 5, Billy.
Mel Kiper Jr.
Number 4, Billy.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Number 3, Billy.
Anderson Cooper.
Number 2, Billy.
John Travolta.
That'd be great.
Creepy. He's gonna, that thing he wears on his head is gonna crawl out of the closet onto his head. And the number 1 person that you want to see in the morning is?
Beyonce. I want to know if she woke up like this.
That's a fair question.
So let's update the polls because we've got quite the mess. Usually we do this janitorially at the end of the show, but we need to get rid of all of this so that we can have a new set of polls for the end of the show. So if you're just joining us, 1 hour and 21 minutes and 49 seconds into the national show as we await in 10 minutes, PJ Carlesimo. If you're just joining us, this is some of what you've missed on today's show.
Does Tim Kirchin know more about Nolan Ryan than you do about your significant other? 93% of the audience said yes. Would you call Giancarlo Stanton a whiffer to his face?
My father did that at a charity.
64% of the audience said no.
Charity event, I should say.
Is a hurly-burly one stop before a war? 53% of the audience said yes.
They agree with Billy Shakespeare.
How about that? What does a kerfuffle sound more like? I can't say that word. Kerfuffle.
Oh, no, you said that word correctly. It was sound that tripped you.
Well, yeah, but there's a little speed bump there. It was kerfuffle.
It's kerfuffle.
No, you said it right the first time.
Kerfuffle. Whatever.
You said it right.
It's one of the easiest words to say, actually. Kerfuffle.
You're right.
You could teach a baby to do it.
What does a kerfuffle look like?
You almost cursed.
What does a kerfuffle sound more like?
You turn red when you say it.
It's very difficult.
Let's try it one more time. Everyone back away from the microphones. Back away from the microphones. Everyone relax, calm down, stop screaming at each other.
I can't back away from the microphone because the dump button's
I know. I'm scared of it, too. Let's go. Let's try it again, Stugotz.
What does a kerfuffle sound more
Don't do
like?
that. It's not funny when you do it on purpose.
What do you mean? Kerfuffle. Oh, I'm sorry. Dan, I swear to you, that had nothing to do with me trying to do it on purpose. I can't see, man. I'm getting old.
What does you're blaming something else?
I'm blaming my eyes, but it's my things that I'm blaming. What does a kerfuffle sound more like?
Oh, it really is like a first grader trying to read.
Frilly dress or a pastry?
Oh, this is an important question.
Frilly
What does
dress.
it sound? What does it sound more like?
68% of the audience at a pastry.
Really?
That was a really rough one for you.
It was.
Kerfuffle. I'm sorry.
Kurt Russell.
It was a Kurt Russell.
Have you ever been locked out of an account because the best friend you gave as a security answer is no longer your best friend? That's such a great question.
Yeah. Who was my best friend 15 years ago when I made this account?
Sorry, David.
79% of the audience shockingly said no.
What?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Weird. This happened to all of us here.
Would you like to punch Draymond Green in the face? 69% of the audience said yes.
Nice.
Did the Cavs win without ever leading last night?
That's what happened. The Raptors are down 0-1 and still haven't trailed in the game. I don't know how that happened, but that LeBron left and we were all confused by the math and okay, Cavs win.
90% of the audience said yes. Would you rather go to a hootenanny or a sock op?
I don't remember that question being amid the poll.
There's been so many. 78% of the audience said a hootenanny.
Really?
Yeah.
Sock op sounds...
It's right before Armageddon. Or is it after Armageddon?
I think it's above Armageddon.
Below.
Oh. Would you buy a board game called Squabble?
Wait a minute. We didn't discuss that.
52% of the audience said yes.
I totally would.
Was Nolan Ryan an underachiever?
We did discuss that, but I don't remember authorizing that poll question.
He was. 54% of the audience said no. Aqua? Is crabbing with Mel Kiper Jr. and Brian Billick on your bucket list? It's just shocking, man. 63% of the audience said no. I mean, how is that not on your bucket list? I don't get it.
What? What's the matter with you people?
I don't know. Those are the polls.
All right, I'm glad we got that cleaned up. PJ Carlesimo is next. If you're not familiar with his work, he is the person in the movie who is warning everyone of impending calamity, but everyone ignores him because he is clearly a kook.
Kerfuffle.
Dan Le Batard.
It's a beautiful sport. Basketball is just hugely graceful.
Stugotz.
In the Western Conference.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. PJ Carlesimo going to join us in just a second. Shirt on, shirt off for PJ when he goes in the pool. What do you think?
Shirt on, short sleeve.
Shirt on, short sleeve. Does he have lotion on the tip of his nose?
No, but he should.
Yes, he should. Right. He should.
Well, we'll ask him. He's on the line. We'll ask him.
Yes. Here's your SportsCenter update. I can't wait to ask PJ this. Mike, I think you're right on all counts. I really do. Ben Roethlisberger says he plans to play 3 to 5 more years. It was 3 years. Then they drafted Mason Rudolph, and then it became 3 to 5 years. How about that?
Tom Brady's had work done, it would appear, because of Garoppolo. I mean, his forehead is smoother than it used to be.
That's not the way aging works.
Nope.
Not in my experience.
Nope. Bills and Sabres president Russ Brandon resigned from his position in the midst of reports of workplace misconduct. And finally, your Stugotz of the day, California's most notorious dine and dash dater, has struck again. Despite becoming an infamous face around the Pasadena dining scene, serial dater Paul Gonzalez has left another woman high and dry by ordering a fancy feast at a restaurant before making a run for it when it's time to pay. The dine and dash dater has pulled this move at least 3 previous times in the Pasadena area. Love that guy. How'd he play?
So you go to the bathroom before the check and then just run away. You have a lovely evening that probably won't end in the kind of magic that you wish for, but if your planning purposes was, and a delightful evening and meal for free.
Yeah. It's hard to find a bigger fan of you than Mom. This Mother's Day, show her just how much you appreciate all of her dedication with 24 multicolored roses for just $24 from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code DAN. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
We'll get to the basketball stuff with PJ in a second. He was at the Warriors game last night. The Warriors beat the Pelicans. The Pelicans can't play a whole lot better than that, I don't think.
Man.
And the Warriors beat them anyway. PJ Carlesimo with us now. Thanks as always for the time. So the last time you were at a beach or a pool, how long ago was that?
Boy, I knew you'd start with the tough ones right away. Probably a couple months, end of maybe September.
All right, so in September, when PJ Carlesimo is at the beach or a pool, he's doing so shirtless, correct?
Correct.
And is there a sunblock on the nose?
There is now, because I've had three episodes of going back to see my doctor to get some Mohs surgery to get because he's told me 68 years of not putting it on. So it's a little late, but I'm putting it on now.
See, this is where our hijinks go awry right there. We were just visualizing you walking around, and now here we are. So let's just move to basketball and make it ruined. Yes, let's do this less awkward.
Just like the Warriors have ruined the game. I mean,
okay, he thinks that Kevin Durant took a shortcut. So let's start with last night's game, PJ. Can the Pelicans play better than that?
Maybe play a little bit better. I'm sure Alvin said it in a nice way. It'd be nice if they get some free throws, particularly Anthony Davis. I mean, he gets about 8 a game in the regular season. They didn't smell the free throw line last night. I don't think it was not poor officiating. They've got to be a little stronger going to the basket, but they can't stop Golden State. They've given up 122 in each of the games, and Golden State did it in different ways. Steph Curry's ridiculous. I happened to do both of the games. You guys remember a couple of years ago when he came back against Portland, and Mike Brown was coaching that night. Steve went back to the hotel. Steph comes back, and they put him in. He misses his first 9 threes in the game, and the game ends up going to OT, and they weren't going to play him big minutes. Sean Livingston fouls out, and he gets 40, including 17 in the overtime. So I was afraid last night 5-6 weeks out doesn't make any difference, and sure enough, I mean, if you watch the game, you wouldn't think he'd miss practices or games or anything. I mean, He turned it over. Other than that, that was the only evidence of rust. They're just too good. They're back playing the way they're capable of playing. I do think I'm not doing Game 3. I'm doing Game 4 down there in New Orleans. I'm going to Salt Lake City Friday night, but obviously they have to win on Friday. New Orleans has played enough good minutes, I think, to be confident, but they need Davis and Drew Holiday to play, super, super well. Their bench didn't help them at all last night.
PJ, you're long-winded again. You're doing these first take shows and these shows where they let you talk for 90 seconds and 2 minutes. We got to shorten that up, buddy.
Well, the more I talk, the less you talk, so I like that better, but I'll try.
Yes, PJ. Anyway, PJ, really, you feel like the referees were fine last night? Because I watched that game, PJ. I felt like New Orleans was being aggressive. I felt like Golden State was also being aggressive, but 27 attempts for the Warriors, 9 for the Pelicans. That's the difference in the game, PJ.
No, it is, no question. It was too one-sided, but the three-point shooting was deceptive. I mean, all game, the three-point shooting got New Orleans in trouble. They made like 4 or 5 in a row at the end, so it's a very deceptive score and a little bit of a deceptive stat sheet. 27-9 is too one-sided, I agree, but I didn't think there were a lot of blatantly bad calls.
Can you tell us, PJ, in your history watching basketball, because you know this, what's the closest thing you've seen to the speed and the lack of space that Steph Curry needs to get his shot off? Clearly, he's the best to ever do it, but what's the closest second place you've got for us?
I thought years ago, Dale Ellis was the quickest catch-and-shoot guy. Nice. Steph's father was close also, but Dale Ellis was the guy who was like on the weak side. You'd always tell guys, don't leave him. But to me, he was the quickest catch-and-shoot guy. Now, he was a little taller, so he had the ability to shoot over people. Steph's not tall, and he doesn't need any room, and he certainly doesn't need any time to release it.
Give us an idea in your history in the league. Give me the comparables, right? Because Draymond is sitting there trying to guard Anthony Davis, and Draymond can guard your 1 through 5. Give me the guy most similar historically to Draymond, where he can be a great defensive player against 1 through 5.
Maybe Pip, maybe Scottie Pippen, and I don't know that he. I guess I'd say I don't think there's been anybody like Draymond.
Does he do it better than LeBron? Does Draymond do 1 through 5 better than LeBron if we tasked LeBron with doing that and didn't worry about foul trouble?
Yes. Draymond's a better defender. Wow. He's a better defender night in, night. I mean, I love LeBron, but LeBron was a little like Kobe toward the end. LeBron now, because he has to do so much on the other end, is more selective of when he wants to, when he has to. I shouldn't say when he wants to. When he has to, he's still an excellent defender. Draymond is just a ridiculous defender night in and night out.
Well, the reason I asked the question, beyond just enjoying watching both of them play last night, is I thought that LeBron, despite what you're saying about him, despite being tired, I thought he snuffed out Kyle Lowry in a way. Even though I know the difference between them as players, I was still surprised that tired LeBron completely vaporized Kyle Lowry at the end of that game.
Well, I didn't see it, but it's not surprising. He can do it. I mean, he still has that. Kobe was the same way. Late in the game, Kobe could go after somebody and take somebody out of a game. But LeBron can do it at more positions than Kobe could. But Draymond is ridiculous. I mean, he impacts the game so much. I mean, last couple nights he's made shots on top of that. But even when he doesn't make shots, he totally distorts the game.
PJ, I think it's laughable, the people that suggest that the Pelicans are better without DeMarcus Cousins. I know they played well since DeMarcus went down, but I feel like they have a real good shot at this series that they're playing in right now if DeMarcus is there. What do you think?
Boy, that's a tough one, Dan. No, I think they're better without DeMarcus Cousins because I don't know what goes on there internally, but it just seems like they're a more together team without him. Having said that, I agree with you in this series because the only two Achilles, I guess you can have two Achilles heels, one on each foot. You can beat up Golden State inside, and what DeMarcus brings to the table that Anthony doesn't is physicality. So you can pound them on the glass, you can score points inside against Golden State, and if Golden State turns the ball over, that's their two weaknesses. They can get sloppy and turn it over, and you can beat them up inside. With DeMarcus, they'd have a better chance of beating them up inside. But night in, night out, particularly over time, I think this has shown that they are better without DeMarcus Cousins.
You guys, this is, let's go. Let's have a fracas. Let's have a brawl between you and PJ Carlesimo for 1 minute because you thought that opinion was ridiculous, and PJ's saying it's not ridiculous.
Well, but he's also saying that with DeMarcus Cousins, they have a better chance of winning this series.
No, he's saying two bigs help you against Golden State.
So, PJ, I can't figure out because, listen, I understand Cousins and what he did in Sacramento, and it wasn't a whole bunch of winning. But in today's NBA, I feel like DeMarcus Cousins can do what you want your big man to do. He can handle the ball. He can shoot from the three-point line. He can take outside shots. He can go inside and bang if he has to. So I just don't get it. Like, I don't think we're giving DeMarcus Cousins enough credit as being a really good basketball player.
He's not really good still. He's one of the best 5 or 10 in the whole league. There's very few more talented players in the league than DeMarcus Cousins. But, I mean, his body of work is he has not been, I don't think, as good a teammate or as good a player accepting the roles that he needs to accept to make his team better.
All right.
PJ, thank you for always tolerating our nonsense. I appreciate you biting back. We'll get you often more often. We'll have you on if you bite back like that more often.
It's tolerating Dan's nonsense. He loves me.
PJ
and I love each other.
George Sedano, he's going to be happy with me, so I'll let him know on Friday.
All right. Thank you, PJ. We appreciate it.
See you guys.
See you, PJ.
It is all about the Benjamins, baby.
He should probably pick up that name he just dropped.
I mean, he doesn't even know who you are. He was blaming you. He was blaming me for your question.
Listen, I mean, PJ knows exactly who I am. PJ and I had a very nice ride from the Hartford Airport at midnight on a shuttle to the Doubletree Hotel in Bristol. It was a very nice ride. We spent 30 minutes talking hoops, and he did not know who I was. You're right.
Don Le Batard.
People who love this show tend to really, really love Stugotz.
Thank you.
Stugotz.
I mean, yeah, the love is unreasonable for a man of your despicable core.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
The general manager of the Houston Rockets will join us in about 10 minutes, or as my father likes to call him, the puffy guy. So Daryl Morey, one of the surprises of the season, even if you thought Houston was good last year, is Houston pressing on the accelerator and closing whatever you think was the gap on the Warriors. Whatever it is, and you may still think you're allowed to think that they haven't actually closed that gap, but there is enough room for doubt, and I did not think there would be room for doubt because they've changed the way people play basketball. They're going for 53s a night. They used to have Kevin McHale as their coach. He would take the analytics that Daryl Morey was bringing him and throw them in the garbage can in front of Daryl Morey.
I'm thankful to the Rockets and Daryl Morey because you're right. We were headed towards, I think, Golden State just running away with another title. At least there's some suspense here. There's some, hey, I don't know. I think Golden State's better, but I don't know.
I don't know how basketball keeps doing this, but it's part of how basketball keeps getting popular. Basketball does a better job of measuring greatness than any of our other sports. Therefore, it's largely predictable. You'll get the occasional Pelicans bouncing the Blazers, but everything that's happened so far is stuff you expected to happen. And that tends to play to form with very few upsets in basketball. Basketball doesn't do a good job of giving you series upsets. It does a good job of giving you upsets game to game.
Right. I mean, I guess maybe the Pelicans, that's the thing that people are surprised about.
That's the surprise this year, that the Pelicans swept the Blazers. Not that they beat them. Plenty of people thought the Blazers could be beaten.
Right.
That they swept them in the way they swept them.
Right.
And so
people are going to say, the Jazz beating the Thunder, but if you've been paying attention all year, I mean, they had the same record.
Jazz were a small underdog in the series because OKC had home court and the Stars. But Amin told you that would be easy. And it was.
Yes.
The people who were watching Utah play defense knew OKC was going to get buzzsawed. But we have legitimate doubt in both conferences right now because LeBron is stronger but weaker.
Well, I have no doubt in the East. It's the West where we have some suspense.
You have no doubt.
Right.
Yes,
I'm the only one. I mean, listen, I've been saying forever, and everyone's falling for the same trick again. I heard Legler doing it before the Raptors series. Oh, Toronto's better. Bench is better. Listen, they still have the best player in the world, period. End of discussion. They have the guy who has been to the NBA Finals for how many years in a row? 7 or 8 years in a row now.
Don't forget, he's made the NBA Finals.
And I can't
7 years in a row.
I just can't believe that we fell for it last year and everyone is falling for it again this year. LeBron's going back to the NBA Finals. That's it.
But he's starting to do this trick now with weaker and weaker teams.
What do you mean, this trick?
Well, because the teams aren't as good, but what's weird is the teams in his conference are also getting worse. So we keep thinking that he's excellent, but if he were going up against, the Derrick Rose MVP Bulls, it wouldn't turn out the same way this go-round.
Right. Well, aren't people saying the Raptors got better, though? Are they saying that?
Yeah, well, I think
a different Raptor team.
This is the best Raptor team we've ever seen.
Right, and they're going to be out in 5 games.
Well, I don't agree with that.
It's over.
Okay.
I mean, he just ripped their souls out last night. He did. He didn't even play well. It was the worst game of the season, according to LeBron. They still won. And the Raptors 34-7 at home with a double-digit lead in the first half and the second half at one point, and they still blow it. Why? Because they're the Raptors.
They lost the game even though they won. They never led.
Yeah. That is unfair when you think about it. You lead 99.9% of the time, and then you lose. A little bit unfair. Body of work,
I don't know how the audience feels, because I would have argued that you had legitimate doubt about the Pacers and whether LeBron was going to get out of the first round. And before that game last night, you said to yourself somewhere, maybe the new Raptors are not the old Raptors. Maybe Dwayne Casey changed things. Maybe the bench. Maybe.
Yeah, I never said that.
Not you. I'm talking about just America knowing that LeBron's team, this team is the weakest he's had in a long time.
The dumb portion of America.
The maybe was them clearly getting game 1, and they didn't get it.
Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. It's hard to find a bigger fan of you than Mom. Through all the teenage mischief and tough first steps of adulthood, she's been there supporting you every step of the way. This Mother's Day, show her just how much you appreciate all of her dedication with 1-800-Flowers.com. And right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers is giving you an exclusive 24 for 24 offer. 24 multicolored roses for just $24. That's only $1 per rose with a bright and beautiful mix of premium roses in a rainbow of colors. These blooms are guaranteed to show Mom just how much she's loved. Multicolored roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, grandma. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak from premier farms and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 24 multicolored roses for just $24 is an amazing offer, but you have to hurry because it expires Thursday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off. Order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what Mom would want you to do. To order 24 stunning multicolored roses for just $24, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan.
Dan Le Batard. Stugotz. This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, expected to join us here in just a second on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Pistons owner Tom Gores wants Stan Van Gundy to return. Damn. Am I allowed to be mad at that? I want Stan Van Gundy to return to our show. It's upsetting. The Mets are saying that Matt Harvey being spotted partying in L.A. a day before giving up a homer in a relief appearance, quote, not a big deal.
Page 6 did point out he was sober.
They did?
Yeah, I mean, he's out partying but sober.
But Dan, the problem is he has a history of partying, okay? Like, listen, I'm fine you want to go out and party, okay?
The problem is that he gave up a home run, Stugotz. The problem
is he's a fake ace. The problem is I told the Mets to trade him 3 years ago when he actually had value, and the Mets did not listen to me. And they should have listened to me. They did not. And now he has no value, and you can't trade him. And what's going to happen is he's going to become a free agent. The Yankees are going to sign him, and he's going to have a Hall of Fame career there. He'll retire his number in Monument Park. Guaranteed. Anyway, HBO has officially renewed Westworld. That's a confusing show, but they did it for a third season. No premier date has been announced.
He's right. He tells no lies. It is
like
a
12 different
confusing show.
timelines.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, I can't imagine
It is hard to
the
follow.
plight of Stugotz watching.
I honestly can't think of a lot of shows in the history of entertainment that are popular and super confusing. Like, what else is like that?
I mean, Lost was, I don't know if confusing was the right
that
word.
show was a mess. They didn't have the ending.
They did not have the ending. It was a very good show, though. But Westworld, man, it's just like, I don't know, man. But I like it. It's weird. Wedding season is upon us, and the easiest way to look fresh for your big day is with thebblacktux.com. The Black Tux has awesome suits and tuxedos that you rent online. To get $20 off your purchase, visit thebblacktux.com/Dan. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
So the Rockets were better than anyone this season, and the architect of that, a guy who gets stars. He gets Dwight Howard, he gets James Harden, he gets Chris Paul, and then he realizes, wait a minute, the Dwight Howard thing, that doesn't work. I want to do it differently. Dwight Howard doesn't shoot threes. Let me get some other people. He's an architect for a new kind of math. They shoot 50 threes a game. Daryl Morey with us, or they want to be shooting 50 threes a game. Daryl Morey with us on ESPN Radio.
He found the right coach for that.
Yes, he did. The perfect coach. He did not have the perfect coach before. I'd like to ask him about that. I'd like to play for him some sound for him of Kevin McHale about James Harden. We'll do that as well. But first question, thank you for joining us, Daryl. Are you better than the Warriors?
We'll find out, I hope.
No!
If we can advance here. I liked your tweet-level summary of our team. That was the fastest anyone has summarized our last 5 years ever.
But that's what's happened, right? You guys, you thought that Dwight Howard was the way to go, and then you just said, bleep it, I'll do it a different way.
We made the Western Conference Finals, and he chose to go to Atlanta, so.
I know, but I'm asking you about the new math. You thought you could out-Warrior the Warriors on three. Not a lot of people thought that.
Well, it's still to be determined. They've won 2 of the last 3 and 73 games the other year, so I'm not sure we found the answer. I mean, they look pretty good with Curry back last night, so we got a long way to go.
You want him to say that they're better, Daryl Morey.
No, I understand.
He's very outspoken, but he's not going to say that they're better.
I want to ask him the question, but here's the thing, though, about Daryl Morey, and I think he'll tell you this himself. He's a big chicken. He can't watch these games. He hides all over the arena. He can't watch the important games. I don't even know where you're going to be when you're playing the Warriors.
I'm not sure I'd go with your adjective for it, but I felt better that since they wrote that article that I found out Jerry West did the same thing. So that's pretty good company.
But
so
can you explain to the audience
when the game when our win probability to give you the nerdy version of it, when our win probability goes through the roof and is really high, that's when I have the most trouble watching.
What?
I can tell you followed that. No, when the game is in hand, that's when I have the most trouble, because after that, it's you should be able to execute and finish it off, and that's when I have trouble watching the team, is when that happens.
Have you ever famously missed something because missed your team? Blowing a big lead. Were you wandering around somewhere during important moments?
Yeah, it's I don't know if it was important, but there's a Dallas series a couple of years ago. I was wandering around outside the American Airlines Center like an idiot. When we eliminated Dallas a couple of years ago. So
why though? What are you doing? You're just
when Dwight Howard was on the team and we made the Western Conference Finals. So I just want people to understand that era that everyone wants to paint in a negative light was actually better than most teams do.
Okay, Daryl, I didn't mean to prick a soft spot.
No.
Yeah, you picked a scab right there.
He's sensitive to it because you feel because you had Dwight Howard on the roster, basketball people, you're still trying to prove yourself, Daryl. They didn't think that Daryl was very good at this because he had a guy like Dwight Howard on the roster. Is that fair?
Well, but he changed the game by figuring out that Capella is better than Dwight Howard on the kind of team that he has. They revolutionized the sport. You changed the blueprint in mid-flight.
Well, I think Clint has really changed. I mean, he's been unbelievable. I think he outplayed Towns in round 1, and obviously round 2, the story's yet to be written. But Clint keeps surprising us, keeps taking a step forward. He really improved in his 4th year in the league, which actually almost never happens. So yeah, we're pretty excited about what Clint's doing.
Can you give us some facts like that you know that most might not? Daryl Morey, Houston Rockets GM, with us. When you say improved
in terms of Clint, you mean?
No, you just said improved more.
Around the hoop. I think people understand it now, but he's actually been elite going back to like second division France. I mean, he has soft hands and unbelievable instincts around the rim in terms of being able to put it away. And I think in Game 1, you saw him throw it down on Gobert a few times and, had to adjust in the air, and really, really impressive stuff. And our coaching staff's done a good job with him as well.
I wasn't asking you to praise Capella. I was asking you how many things like that where players don't often improve in their fourth year this way. Like what sort of...
Oh, yeah. Jermaine O'Neal is probably the most famous late improver, I think. Like he really took a leap forward into his fourth and fifth year. Just to take one example from history of a player.
So you know a guy within 3 years, you know whether a guy is it or not. Usually, with a few outliers.
Almost always, like 97% of players are pretty much set where their trajectory is going to be after their first 3 years.
What was your greatest fear in putting together this particular team?
Well, I think people obviously had the question marks about Chris. We were pretty confident in that. But it's actually been better. But we were a little bit like, how are we actually going to make it work? Mike had some confidence that it was going to work in the sense that he had worked with both at USA Basketball. We knew both worked off the ball. I think probably the main thing we were curious how it would work is in key moments late in the game. Both of James and Chris are alpha dogs. These are obviously big-time guys who've won a ton of games. Both are going to want the ball late, and how would that work? And the fact that these two are such good friends off the court and respect each other so much on the court, they've been that hasn't become an issue. The other thing is we haven't been in a ton of close games, so that helps too. But when it's been close,
that has to feel good, though, Daryl. Saying that has to feel good. Come on.
That was my favorite line so far. Actually, yeah.
I mean, that had to feel so good. We haven't been in a ton of close games. I mean,
yeah. I think Bobby Myers gets to talk about being in one close game a year or something crazy. So we're not there yet. So.
You're a couple of games away from a bunch of them, Daryl. Well, how about long term with Chris? What's your confidence there? Is he going to stay there?
I mean, that's really more a question for Chris, but we feel like we've set the environment really well for him to choose the Houston Rockets. So, yeah, we feel good about it, but obviously that's for him to decide once the offseason comes.
Here is your former coach, Kevin McHale, talking about James Harden playing defense.
You coach James Harden. Give us a good story of him not playing defense.
Wow, did someone just punch you, Kevin? Did someone just walk into the room and punch you right in the stomach?
On the defensive end, James's guy would cut behind him and be laying it in. And the classic was he'd look at the corner where he thought his guy was as he's laying it in, like that was a new guy, like that guy had cloned himself and had And I always just laughed at that. I'd be like, no, that is your guy, and he cuts behind you and he's laying it in. He'd always look at the corner, and when I watched the film, it'd be like an apparition, like there was two of them, I would just go, oh my goodness.
That sound about right?
Kevin was a great coach for us. I might have chose to talk about where he's locked in on those plays on the help side, and one of the better help side defenders in the league. I think you can find a bad moment of any player where they've lost their guys. So
true or false, you would bring Kevin McHale analytics and he would throw him right in the garbage can?
That's false, actually. He was a very forward-thinking guy. He came at it in a different way, and that he's a bit old school, obviously being such a great player in the 80s and where, what he grew up. But he was actually a very forward-thinking guy. One of the reasons we brought him in the first place. And, in Minnesota, if you study his Minnesota teams before we hired him, they were playing in a very modern way. So, Kevin, I think I don't know, it sounds like, I think people don't realize he's a very smart guy who's forward-thinking.
Would you help us understand this? Because my guess is your personal prism will help you form this answer. How will history remember Sam Hinkie?
Well, that story's definitely yet to be written. I mean, he's going to get another job, and I think they'll see him as obviously a really important architect of Philly's trajectory, which looks really good. And I think he's going to get another job, and I think it's going to be a very good history, but obviously still TBD on that one.
Would you be kind enough to give us 30 seconds on your basketball musical?
Sure. I appreciate you asking. Yeah, that's to the folks listening, we have a musical I've worked on for 5 years called Small Ball with some really brilliant folks, and it's about a country that's newly discovered and wants to join the international stage by forming a basketball team. And so they do the natural thing. They figure they don't know much about basketball, so they go and hire a ringer to come to the island, Michael Jordan. They put all their money together to get Michael Jordan to come to the island, but then when he gets to the island, they realize they've made a big mistake, that they just got some guy named Michael Jordan, not the Michael Jordan, and he's a washed-up guy who had last played in the Icelandic Domino's Pizza League, which is actually a real league. And then you find out that it's actually the island of Lilliput, and all the players are 6 inches tall. So this team of not Michael Jordan and a bunch of 6-inch tall people have to win basketball games. So as you can tell, it's a bit of a farce, and people seem to be enjoying it. Sold out here in Houston for its whole 6-week run, and we're hoping to have big things down the road with it.
You were sober when you thought of this?
Can you give us...
I can't comment on that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Would you be kind enough, Daryl Morey, and congratulations on your success, but on the way out here, as we go to commercial, as we throw it to the sponsor, would you be kind enough to recreate a couple of the lyrics that perhaps you wrote for Small Ball? How would they be performed? Come on, give us something. Come on, Daryl, give us a little something as you protect, Kevin McHale and James Harden's defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Dwight
There's
Howard.
one of the big numbers is actually called Sex with Giants, because there's a love story between Lily, which is the daughter of the emperor of the island, and not Michael Jordan. And in that song, Sex with Giants, let me think of a line.
All right, hold on a second. Let's all back off here. This is going to be great.
Actually, you know what I can do? I can give you guys a clip if you want to.
No, would prefer a performance live on the air, organic from the creator of Small Ball. Would prefer just a couple of quick sentences. The general manager of the Houston Rockets from his musical Small Ball, Sex with Giants. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you're really putting me on the spot here, but I know. I mean, he basically talks about how. So I have to set it up. I'm sorry. I know you're trying to get the break.
No, as long as we get to the song, you can take as long as you like to set it up.
The island hasn't discovered the number 5 yet, so they're only playing with 4 players. And the director of analytics has discovered the number 5 and is trying to convince the emperor of the island to add a 5th player to the team. Meanwhile, his daughter is having sex with not Michael Jordan, and essentially, the evil assistant coach Pippen, basically is saying we can't have these things. We shouldn't join the larger world. We shouldn't. Adding a 5th player to the team, and
we got all the context. Sing the dirty line.
All right. So the line that I would go with is, let me get it here. Can I do it after the break?
Oh,
Sorry.
for the love of God, Morey.
Tease.
I know it's a turnover.
All right, a great tease. Get out of here. We're going to come back with you. Coming up next, the general manager of the architect of the team that's going to beat the Warriors, sings a lyric from Small Ball about Giants having sex with somebody's daughter.
I ain't got time to bleed.
The Emperor. It's definitely such a great tease, man. That's a good job by Moore.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Money Grabber. Now you can receive a loan at the perfect interest rate for the things that you want to do the most. Now you'll be able to afford paying for your child's college tuition, purchasing a new house, paying back your bookie, buying the car of your dreams, obtaining someone else's identity, acquiring plutonium, or the vacation of a lifetime. Money Grabber, a practical solution to an empty wallet, 47.4% interest rate. It's a good deal. Money Grabber is not a real bank. USANA, BS. Daryl Morey continues with us now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
At what point did you realize that they had put copy in front of you that was bogus copy?
Acquiring plutonium.
Okay. So Daryl Morey is with us, and if you're just joining us, he's the general manager of the Rockets. And if you didn't hear the last segment, here is a sampling of some of what's come in reaction to the last segment. He's clearly a few grapes short of a fruit salad. They have an analytics guy on the island, but he can only count to 4. I've never been so excited for an upcoming segment of Batard's show ever. A song about a 6'inch tall emperor's daughter having sex with not Michael Jordan. Then there's this. And really, it's something we could have said about him at any point during his construction of everything. Is Daryl Morey totally insane? What is this?
It's awesome.
And again, another texter writes in, what do you mean they haven't discovered the number 5? So, without further ado, Daryl Morey, general manager of the Houston Rockets, the best offense we've ever seen in basketball this year.
Yep.
Best we've ever seen. Give us, please, a lyric or two from your musical Small Ball.
I'll even sing it. Although people, this will kill our fun. It goes, do we want to have sex with giants or know what's between 4 and 6? How to bring the parts into compliance? I just cannot grasp the mechanics. So that's
Morey.
Throw flowers on the stage.
Bravo.
Throw roses on the stage. Go on. I just threw my underwear on the stage. Sing on.
We'll send you the clip. You can play it out.
All right.
Play it out.
Congratulations. We'll check in with you during the Warriors series when you're wandering around the arena.
On the play, the team, the season. What are you congratulating him on?
I want to write a musical with it. Thank you, Daryl. We appreciate your time, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me on smallballmusical.com, and hopefully we get rid of the hated Jazz here in Houston. So Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Daryl. That sport is fun, man. Watching all this stuff going on in the postseason has been a lot of fun. We've got coming up next, Mike, you're excited about this guest, Jordan Palmer. You've been wanting to get him on for a while.
Yeah, most people were trying to talk to him about Josh Allen because he helped train him for the NFL draft. Or some people sometimes want to ask him about his older, more successful brother, Carson. But I want to talk to him about his Run P app.
The Run P app.
Yeah, an app that helps you determine when you have to go to the bathroom during a movie.
Do we want to ask him any quarterback questions, or we just want to ask him about his app?
I do.
What do you have for him?
Well, he's the guy. He's the quarterback guru. He's the closest to all these quarterbacks. He's worked with these quarterbacks in a way that no one else has.
But would he tell us who he thinks is best among the 5 quarterbacks?
I think he would, yes.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, the answer is
Josh Allen. Well, but is it because he's worked with him, or is he worked with all of them?
Well, some people will say that he has, he's going to push certain quarterbacks headed into the draft because he's working with those guys. Now I'm interested in the truth because all those guys have already been drafted. Yeah. I want to know who he thinks the best is,
The top guys, he only worked with Darnold and Josh Allen, and his brother was a USC guy, so to go with Josh Allen, woof.
All right, so Jordan Palmer is next.
Dan Le Batard.
Ooh. Guillermo, sassy.
Stugotz.
You're sexy when you're sassy.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
One of the things that puts LeBron James at the very top of any list in basketball history is his efficiency. It was the same for Michael Jordan. The idea that a perimeter player or a perimeter player's build would be something that could shoot 50, 55%. That was the genius of Michael Jordan. Allen Iverson, Carmelo, those are 40% guys.
Right.
So LeBron James last night beat the Raptors 12 of 30 from the field, 1 of 8 from deep, 1 of 6 from the free throw line, 3 of 15 during the fourth quarter and overtime.
Yeah. He called it his worst game of the year. But you know what? His teammates and everyone's been criticizing them, and he certainly praised them last night, and he should have. They bailed them out last night.
Yep.
I mean, they had a great game.
Yes, J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver shot well.
And Jeff Green.
So Jordan Palmer joins us now. We've been talking about him because Stugotz wants some information from him. I want different information from him. So you go first. And Jordan, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your maiden voyage on the show. But let's just go back and forth, Stugotz. So you ask him a football question, and I'll ask him about this Run P app.
Okay, so Jordan, Jordan, you're a quarterback guru. You work with Sam Darnold headed into the draft. Now, I'm a Jet fan, and Jet fans are conditioned to think the worst possible thing's going to happen to their team. So I think if Sam Darnold was drafted by the Giants, he would have had a Hall of Fame career. But he was drafted by the Jets, and I think he'll be out of the league at 5 years. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Oh, man, for a bunch of reasons. Sam's the type of kid who he doesn't really process pressure the way that everyone else does, the way that normal people like us do. He's been thrown into some crazy situations, and he just handled it really well. So the second part of it is physically. For his game, he can create time and space. And when you're a rookie, and I trained Deshaun Watson last year, and it played out on Sundays, if you can create time and space, it becomes less about the amount of offense that you have in and the weapons around you, because you can manufacture plays down the field. And so Sam is going to be able to handle the pressure really well. And then physically, even if if he's playing early and they only have a percentage of the offense, then he'll be able to extend the plays and move the chains because of the style of play he has.
Can you give us the most specific details possible in telling us how it is that the Run P app came to you as an idea?
Well, it was 2007, I think, and the apps had not come out yet. The app world had not started, and my business partner, a guy started a business my rookie year. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and so he had said there's this website where this guy's sitting in the back of the movies and talking about how the best time to take a pee is, and so we ended up buying that, turned it into an app, and I had mentioned it on Hard Knocks, and for some reason, even though we sold it 7 years ago, it still comes up in the Dan Le Batard show. We pivoted and made a different app, and then we pivoted and made a thing called Shot Studios, which is now, I believe, the #1 channel on YouTube. Oh, wow. So you can imagine what size of a company that is.
That's pretty incredible. Also incredible is Deshaun Watson. You worked with Watson before the draft, and I'm wondering, did he exceed your expectations? There's no way, Jordan, you thought he'd be this good, right?
Well, to be honest with you, it's how easy is it for me to lie and say I knew it all along.
Right.
But I did tell a couple of teams that we thought would be a good fit for him, Houston being one of them. I did tell them that Dave O'Sweeney was correct. He is Michael Jordan. This is a kid who handles adversity. I put together a stat line on him. So I had talked to some folks that were involved in his life really early on, and we kind of added up and looked at all the biggest games of his career, including basketball, and playing high school football, his first start and his first rival game in the championship. This kid's like 88% completion percentage in giant games. It was just, I don't remember exactly what it was. It was just insane. And he literally, in a big game, at this point in his career, he hasn't played like crap. I just heard you guys talking about LeBron, right? He hasn't done that yet. High school and college, 33-3 as a starter in college. And he went to New England for his second start and went off. Went to Seattle for his first road, went off. And he's got a lot of things to work on. He's got to clean up mechanics. He's got more offense to learn. He's got more experience in front of him. He's got a ton of stuff to get better at. But what he doesn't have to figure out is how to play well in big games.
Go ahead, ask your question, and just ruin everything here because you can't help yourself. No, you want to just bury him. I'm going to leave.
No.
Ask him as many questions as you like about your quarterback situation.
I don't want you to,
one at a time, guys.
Yes. I don't want you to leave, but when we do it this way, and there's an answer that begs for a follow-up, I don't know what we do there.
Okay, what you do is the show you've secretly wanted to do for 15 years, which is go ahead, go through the quarterbacks with him one by one.
He told teams that Watson was going to be this good. I'm just wondering if he called those teams back after they didn't select Watson and he turned out to be that good.
Keep asking follow-up questions about your dorky football stuff.
That was it. I just did.
No, I didn't call anybody back, but, we reloaded again this year. I actually worked with Sam Darnold and Josh Allen and Kyle Allen. and 3 really good ones. And so, I'm just transparent with teams. I kind of know a lot about these guys, even the guys I don't train, because I'm kind of around these guys when they're 15, 16, 17 years old. And so Rosen and Mayfield and all these guys. And, I just take the approach of here's the things that I think that are going to allow them to succeed. And then here are the things that I think are going to be challenges. And the follow up to that is, and here's, if you can do X, Y, Z, they'll overcome those challenges. And as the way the draft panned out, forget who was drafted, what number, 1, 3, 7, 10, forget that. I actually think all 4 of these, I think the NFL got it right. All 4 of these guys ended up in the appropriate spot for them. And now Sam could have played in Arizona too, and Baker would have, succeeded in Buffalo. That's fine. But I actually think they all 4 landed in the perfect spot. With Baker, he's got Todd Haley as his offensive coordinator, and Todd with Big Ben the last few years has been more about extending the play and getting unbelievable athletes outside and a consistent run game. I think Baker's going to have success early. Sam is going to learn from Josh McCown, who I would draft number 1 overall if there was a draft in terms of taking guys who can help young guys get better. I played with Josh. And that system with Jeremy Bates and with Josh helping him groom him is a great situation. Josh Allen is Buffalo. Think about this. What quarterback drafted in the first round ever would get drafted by the Buffalo Bills, and it would be the biggest city he's ever lived in? So he is Buffalo. High school and college, he's from Firebaugh and Laramie, 2 places that a year ago no one knew who they were. Wow. And Josh Allen Rosen filling in for my brother in Arizona is actually a phenomenal fit for him.
Yeah. Hey, great stuff. It begs for another follow-up. For more information on his quarterback summit, go to quarterbacksummit.com. Jordan Palmer, the quarterback guru, is with us here on ESPN Radio. Just another follow-up here. So if you have the number, I just want to be clear here. If you're running the Browns and you're going to take a quarterback, of all the guys available, the quarterback you're taking with the number 1 pick this year is whom?
Doesn't really matter. They took Baker, and they're going to figure out a way to have success.
What if they don't?
And they're going to be continue to have fans put bags on their heads.
All right, and now just play along here because this is a serious concern. It begs for another follow-up here, Jordan. This is a serious. I'm a Jet fan, okay? I'm concerned about Sam Darnold, and what I'm most concerned about is it feels like he's a buffet away from being out of the NFL. Am I wrong?
Oh, I'll follow-up question for you. Why?
He did a little chunky round face. That's all. I'm not saying it's so. It just looks like he enjoys a buffet.
No. This guy's he's trim. He's a ridiculous athlete. He can dunk. He can
he can dunk.
He's gonna be good to go. Wow. Oh, this guy's an unbelievable athlete. You guys can do some research. Dig up his high school highlights from basketball. Watch him cock it back with 2 hands and mash on kids.
I'm doing it right now. This is very, very exciting. So he's not a buffet away from being out of the league, huh?
I don't. No. Dive a little deeper on your team and go out to an OTA and check them out.
No, I mean that's why.
Shirt off.
Listen, this is why we have you on. I don't want to dive deeper into my team. I don't want to do research. You just tell me he's good, and I'm done. Like he's good.
I'll tell you this. I'm biased. I love the kid. I think he's awesome and all that. But I genuinely believe this is a perfect situation for him.
Okay.
And this kid's gonna be a star.
Quarterback summit. That sounds really cool. It sounds like an event I'd like to be at. Can me and Mike Ryan, maybe the shipping container, can we attend the quarterback summit one year?
Yeah, come on out. You can check it out early because it's a lot of the high school kids flying in from around the country. And then for my coaches, I just bring in some of the top college starters. And so a lot of these guys that I mentioned, the Sam Darnolds and the Jared Goffs and all these guys, they all kind of, when they were in college, they come and they help coach my camp. And it's a great opportunity for me to help them think about, being a professional and treating it serious while they're in college to get them ready, get their mind kind of set when they do get drafted and start playing.
QuarterbackSummit.com is the website. I got to run P. See you later.
It's QB Summit.
QBSummit.com is the website. I got to run P. See you.
Splash!
Delightful. Jordan Palmer. Is Dan mad? Where's Dan? Big trouble. Ooh, am I in big trouble?
Dan Le Batard.
Good work today. That was a fun show.
Stugotz.
It was also intergalactically stupid.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Let's get to the polls. We've only got one here because we updated them before. And, Mike, we need to end the show with that Stephen A. Smith sound, whatever it is. So let's try and conclude there. What is the poll for the day? The one poll.
Does listening to PJ Carlesimo on radio make you want to clear your own throat? 95% of the audience said yes.
Culture. It matters. It ain't just about X's and O's. It's about knowing what a franchise needs, how much a city is suffering, and how much the city needs in order to sit up there and come together and galvanize their team to propel them to new heights. It's happening in Utah. It's happening in New Orleans. It's happened in Houston. It's happened in Golden State. It's happened in Boston. It's happened in Philadelphia. Where the hell has New York been? Where?
That is Stephen A. Smith every day, 1 to 3, here on ESPN Radio. Give me some more.
When I sit up and raise holy hell in support of Mark Jackson as the head coach for the New York Knicks, the next head coach for the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not talking about just coaching. I'm talking about a culture changer. I'm talking about, for once, seeing someone stand before the cameras in New York, knowing they're one of us, and having this belief in your soul that this person is the right man because he gets us. That's Mark Jackson. That's Mark Jackson. And why is that needed? Because James Dolan is the boss. Because Madison Square Garden and the business enterprise it is hovers over this franchise like a damn virus.
When LeBron James came to Miami, New York fans got very mad at me for welcoming them to another decade of irrelevance. I'm going to be a decade short. I mean, we're 2 years from me being spectacularly right, and I'm going to have another decade to spare.
Where?
Really, it's unbelievable what a dumpster fire that